myself out.
I am afraid of...
I'm terrified and paralyzed by...
I am deathly afraid of...
Welcome to the Sum of All Fears podcast with your host, me, Ryan Perrio. Hello and welcome to the Sum of All Fears podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Perrio. This week, we have another episode from my live recordings at the Pediculus Brewery for the Hops and Arts Festival. It'll be Candice McEnturff. It's so hard to say because it just leads you to McIntyre so much, but it's McEnturff. I actually say that in the beginning of the interview, which is fun. In this episode, me and Candice discuss her relationship, growing up as a rebel and a country girl, her art and how she get her artist process and inspiration, and then we get into her fear of snakes. It's a really fun episode, so without further ado, here's Candice McEnturff. All right, my next guest here at the Pediculus Brewery is Candice McEnturff.
I know, it's a mouthful.
Well, it's a mouthful, but it's so leads you to McIntyre like every time. Like you see the M-C-N-T and then it just throws an F and that's where an E should be when you look at it.
Trust me, I've gotten that a lot.
Someone needs to marry you so they can take it to Smith. And the right-hand man is...
I'm going to go from Scottish to Irish. So from McEnturff to Callahan.
Well, my grandfather on my mom's side is Scottish, and so he had my mom do Irish sword dancing when she was a kid.
That's
that's how Scottish he was. Like that's how Gaelic he was. Like he's from like Glasgow area, like Hamilton, Scotland, and stuff like that. So
that's cool.
Totally know about that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know a lot. I just know that I've been told that my last name means son of the bull.
Okay.
So that's a really fun fact that no one needed to know.
So you're an artist, and
yes.
you definitely have a lot of different mediums out there. You've got paintings, you got jackets, which the ride or die, is that who's...
Hocus Pocus.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that your favorite movie?
Oh, no, I have a lot of favorite movies. I like to paint a little bit of all of them.
Okay. You got the Shining, which is a definite favorite of mine.
Yes. I usually have a lot more dark stuff, but today I kept it really light and fluffy.
Okay. I like the boots, the rain boots with the flames.
Thank you.
So where did the inspiration for those boots come from?
Well, I thrift sometimes. Like, for instance, the Ride or Die jacket, that's a real leather, like a vintage leather jacket that I found. The boots are kind of the same story, but those are not real leather. Those are pleather. Mm-hmm. But I saw them, and I just wanted to do something crazy on them that no one's ever done. And I was thinking either cow print or flames for some reason, and I actually took a vote on my Instagram, and people wanted the flames, so I made it happen.
That's awesome. You definitely that's an artist that interacts with her fans on social media. Like
I try, but it's hard sometimes.
Yeah, it's got to be. Because everybody has their own opinion, so I can see how the flood of people like, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that?
You have no idea.
Oh.
The ideas everyone has.
Yeah, and it's like, well, you have two hands. You can, if you want to try to create this.
I like making dreams come true.
Okay.
I do, but sometimes I get too far into that, and I stretch myself way too thin, and my list keeps growing. So this year, I've done something for myself and toned that down, and I'm painting a lot more things out of my mind. Mm-hmm. But I'm also making, the customs happen on the side. So.
Okay. I noticed you have a tattoo on this arm here. What?
Yeah, it's a baby T-Rex.
Okay. Is this a Friday the 13th?
No, it was a friend of mine. We went and got him together, and,
Does she have a baby T-Rex?
Now it's cursed. We're not friends anymore, but...
What?
She got a pterodactyl.
She got a pterodactyl? Does she get it removed? Like, is that just a symbol of where your friendship's at, that tattoo has been removed?
It's extinct.
Okay. I just noticed it. I was like, why is that?
I'm so embarrared talking about that, but... It is what it is. But I love it. It makes me happy, and it's cute.
Yes, it is. It's very cute. I was just like, I couldn't tell what it was because it was like, is it a bottle? Is it?
I know it could be a state. It could be a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see eyes, and I was unsure. So so you say you do a lot of darker stuff. So is it mood driven? Like if you're in a dark mood, does a wave of dark art come?
I'm just a weird person. I mean, I'm just going to put it out there. I'm weird. I like a little bit of everything. My grandma was a big influence to me growing up, and she was a horror fanatic.
Okay.
She had me watching The Shining when I was like 3 years old. So
Wow.
Freddy Krueger, the whole works. I was watching all the classics with her, and it just kind of morphed me into this huge horror fan. And now that I can paint, I just like to make those things come to life on canvas. So
that's awesome.
Freak people out sometimes. That's fun.
I've never heard of a grandmother that's into horror. That sounds
she was a wonderful woman, hilarious, full of spice, and just you would never guess meeting her that she would be a horror fanatic. You just wouldn't know.
Yeah. Nobody guesses a grandmother is a horror fanatic, but we're getting to that generation too where we are going to be grandmother horror fanatics.
That's going to be me all day.
Okay. So what is your favorite horror movie? Is it The Shining or?
No, I mean, obviously, it's one of my favorites, but Sean and I, we carry on the tradition with the horror films, and we like to get into the modern stuff. So we're really big fans of Hereditary. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've seen that one, but it's really messed up. It's a really good one.
Jessup, my friend David Jessup, who was my first guest, he does a lot of creepy art. You may know him. He does Children of Dave sculptures. He's a big Hereditary fan.
Yes, it's a good one. We like the Insidious movies a lot, the Conjurings a lot.
Okay.
Just anything that really is messed up, we love it.
Okay. And that's a hit thing too. So where do you think it comes from? Your grandmother? So it wasn't anything for Dave. My friend Dave, he had a lot of night terrors, and it was kind of a rebellion against his family, which is kind of Christian and upright.
Like a face your fear kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, he also, again, it's the oppressive nature of religion sometimes can cause you.
And that's the funny thing. My grandma was like the most religious person ever. So I'm also both worlds combined. So
that's amazing.
Really random.
Yeah, but it's also interesting. And I was curious when you said this tradition of horror. So is it you just have a horror date night basically?
Yeah, like every day.
Every day is a horror. There's a horror thing you'll have to do.
If we had that option, that would be real.
So is that if y'all were to get married? I'm not going to.
Oh, we talk about it all the time. We want to.
Is that going to be like a horror moon? Or is it going to be like a horror honeymoon?
It is a good idea. Oh, we'll have to talk about that for sure.
Because I was just thinking, that seems like an idea, to go to some, New Orleans or something haunted.
We do want to go there.
Do the graveyard tour or something like that.
Yeah, we would totally do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. But it's awesome that you find somebody that, again, you can share that with, because so many times you meet somebody who isn't a horror fan, if you're a horror fan, or isn't kind of lock in step almost with what you're passionate about.
I got lucky on this one. We've been together for 6 years, and we have a lot in common.
Okay, well that's awesome.
Sometimes too much, but I love him anyway.
What is too much in common?
We just we're around each other 24/7.
Okay. That
just like anybody else.
That sounds like a horror movie in its own right there. Just did you put that where I told you not to put it? Okay, cool, thanks.
Pretty much.
I guess y'all have because I know from people that are in serious relationships that each of them have their own intricate design on where they want to put things.
I am super OCD. Super OCD. And he was a Marine, and he has to have the bed a certain way, the sheets pulled up a certain inches from the top and all that, you know.
And if it's not.
And I have my things, he has his things, but we make it work.
You make it work, but it's also, there are times where they're not there, and you're like, oh, I can do my thing. I can do all my little OCD things, and he's not around to undo. Because I feel like that's what y'all do, is you tuck something in, he'll untuck it.
Oh, he comes home and the whole house is just, completely redone. So
that sounds like a romance for the ages. Just
very much so.
So how did y'all meet?
Well, I bartended for 12 years, and used to never date anybody that came into my bar. It was like a rule that I had. I wouldn't date regulars or anything like that. And he broke the mold. He came in one night. He got stood up for a date, and he was like, I'm going to go get a beer. It was a random Sunday. He came in on my shift. Next thing you know, I'm having him take shots with me, and he's closing the bar down with me, and we stayed and talked at the little pond out back until the sun came up and got mosquito bites all over. I mean, we've just been inseparable since. So.
What kind of bar is this that you have a pond in the back? Like,
oh, it's still around to this day. That shall not be named.
Okay. don't want people to know where it all started.
Unfortunately, I've had to burn some bridges in my past.
I hear you.
But it is what it is.
With those boots, like that's what you do.
They're made for walking, baby.
Yeah, for burning bridges is what they're made for. They're that flames on them. So you definitely have a lot of mediums. So is your art kind of abstract? Like, do you do that with darker colors as well? Like, I'm looking at the canvases.
So today I brought a lot more abstract stuff than I normally would because I do a lot more pop art and portrait work usually, but abstract it's my bread and butter. It's
the moneymaker.
It's just I love it so much. Nothing feels the same as abstract. It just feels great.
So is it just the freedom of I don't have to follow any rules? There's color. You're coloring outside the lines.
I've always been a rebel.
Okay.
I've always been a rebel, and I just like to go in with no plan and just feel the vibe.
Mm-hmm. And that I feel like that's a lot of abstract. Is if you don't feel it, then you're not creating. You're fulfilling an order. You're filling an order if you're doing something somebody else requested.
Yeah, I like to spice it up in between all the commission work that I do, and I'll be focused in on several portraits at a time, and you get kind of lost in that. And every now and then, you just like, you know what, I got to paint something for me. And when you do, it just, you feel renewed.
Yeah, as a comic, I do that a lot. Like, that's, there's jokes that are just my, they may get laughs, they may not, but they're just for me to kind of, again, like you're saying, kind of reset your palette.
Exactly.
To break the monotony.
Zone in.
Yeah, just to break the monotony of doing homework. Like, this is my art project.
And it helps you kind of find your little things that make you along the way, because as an artist, I feel like that's like the biggest challenge, is trying to find what makes you different from everybody else, because there's so many talented people everywhere. You just got to take it and run with it. That's why I had such a hard time trying to find a fear, is because I face my fear all the time.
Do you paint your fear?
I all the time.
Okay. Go ahead and tell people what your fear is, because it's one of mine too. Like, I had an episode where I recorded with my friend where we talk about, because I'm not afraid to be a guest on my own show, and so I'll let someone else do the hosting part. And my fear, this is my biggest fear, by the way. You're hitting the one that I'm like, no.
Yeah. So snakes is what I wrote down, because they really terrify me. I almost stepped on one the other day in my yard and had a heart attack almost. So,
like, if you want me to not, because I'll tell you a story where I had a snake. Like, I've been living in apartments as an alcoholic my whole life, and so
been there. Sometimes
when you're an alcoholic and you're moving apartments, you forget when your apartment deadline to move is, and so I went out. I'm like, I'm not going to disturb my drinking to move furniture.
See, I just never moved.
Yeah. Well, I haven't moved in 10 years, but this is me in my early 20s, and so I went out clubbing at the Lizard Lounge.
Oh.
Way back in the day, showing my age.
Old school.
And so I came home and literally was going to start moving stuff from my apartment at 2 a.m. to my other apartment, which was in the same complex. So I was just literally going to walk it, and I stepped out of my car, and literally a huge water moccasin just went through the yard to the downstairs window. I raced up the stairs. And I kid you not, like, I was looking at my bedroom window as the snake is on this other window ledge just right there. And I'm like, well, we're not moving anything today. Like, I just kept looking for it, like, every night. Like, I would just be like, where is it? To this day, I will not go to Peter's Colony Apartments in Carrollton, Texas, because snake still... Those things are like dinosaurs. They could probably live hundreds of years.
Yeah, I've always, like, had this fear. Now, this is really random and probably TMI, but... of sitting on the toilet and a snake just like coming up out of nowhere and just,
That's happened in Australia. Like in Australia and stuff like that, there's spiders and stuff. Like, people talk about how great Australia is, but go Google how many different spiders and snakes are just in Australia, and it's like terrifying.
I guess if
a
you're around
terrifying large amount of numbers. Like they have the most poisonous spider, and it's aggressive. It's not just a spider that that runs away. It comes at you, and it's super poisonous. Like it's called a funnel web.
Nope.
And kids, like people are afraid because like kids will be on the ground and it'll charge, and it can stay underwater for 5 minutes and
God.
survive because it can build like an oxygen bubble out of its web and it's like, no, I'm never going to Australia.
One reason to not want to live there.
Yeah,
Right there.
or travel. I like if I'm staying, it's big city. I'm not going out anywhere on the plains of Australia.
Yeah. I guess you get used to it if you live around it all the time, but I don't know if I would ever get used to that.
So where did your fear of snakes start, or where do you feel like it started?
I'm a country girl. I grew up in Midlothian.
Okay.
And I raised goats and stuff like that in high school. And I had a goat pen out back. And one day I was going to feed and water the goat. And I was barefoot and I stepped on a snake.
Okay.
And ever since then, I've been scarred. So,
Was it a poisonous snake, or was it
I don't know. I ran so fast after it happened that...
your goat starved to death like that for the rest of the time? Like your goat just is like, please feed me, and you're like,
Nope, not
just
today.
throwing goat pellets into the mud.
Pretty much, yeah. But yeah, ever since then, I've just been really terrified. And now, it almost happened again in our yard the other day where I almost stepped right on one again. I just wish they would stay away from me.
They do have benefits, from what I understand. Like they're the ones that eat insects and stuff like.
I didn't want him to kill it. I just don't want it under
You
my
just
feet.
want it relocated. Okay, fair enough.
Well, we have a creek in our backyard, so it's
You guys
inevitable.
and just water. Like I don't know what it is. Like you just go out back and there is water to be had. Creek,
Yeah.
pond. You just are reliving your first date every night. You go in the backyard. That's what you're doing.
You're right.
Just mosquito bites.
We had a reading done by one of my friends one time, and she said that he has specifically a history in a past life with water.
Okay.
So really interesting that you say that.
He's a Marine too, so
I know, super random.
He's the one of the military people that is associated with water.
I tell him back in the day I was his mermaid.
Okay. Do you believe she was
That's
your
why
mermaid?
I got the thick legs now,
Okay. Noted.
Yeah.
So I'm fascinated by the egg-shaped canvas next to the boots.
Oh, that one's brand new, actually. So I was going for something kind of trippy, kind of opalescent in colors.
Very
and
opalescent.
I'm obsessed with texture and experimenting with that. So that one is fresh off the easel.
So did you cut it that way, or is that
Oh, no, the canvas was already...
pulled? Okay.
Yeah, I buy them pre-stretched because I'm maxed out.
I'd almost say that's almost like I would say Eastern, like almost like, because I could almost see like a Chinese dragon or something in the clouds. Like that's a kind of almost like it's an Asian like tattoo kind of like that kind of art.
I like your vision for that piece.
It's like a silk, I guess, what they call a silk screen.
I like your
do.
vision for that.
Thank you. I would just
I see it different. Everyone sees it different.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's so cool to me.
So when you say texture, so what kind of are you just always like to just something new? Is it?
I do always try new things. I'm very interested with being well-rounded in art just because I'm so passionate about it. I don't want to be about it and not be all the way about it.
Yeah.
So I'm always trying to learn something new. I'm always researching things and looking at new products and things like that and trying to mix it up. But here kind of recently I've been on a texture craze.
Okay.
Which has been going pretty well because people enjoy it. So I'm just going to keep doing it.
Okay. So does he find you the textures? Like, is he out? Do you? We're talking to her significant other who's just off mic. Do you go out and find things for her, like texture wise? Do you if you discover something, or do you report back first and let her make the choice?
We kind of always consult with each other about visions. Like I'll tell him kind of, for instance, the astronaut piece that you see there
Yeah.
with the resin shine on it. He did that pour for the background. He actually poured that. So he sometimes will learn with me or whatever. I mean, not very often, but no. Sometimes he will experiment and do things like that. So we can kind of collaborate on a vision.
Does he paint as well, or is he?
No,
Okay.
no. He has a very artistic eye and vision, but he does not. He does not paint.
No painting with the twist dates for you guys? No.
Well, we actually, pre-COVID, I have a little business called Candice Paint and Sip, to where we would mobile travel to parties and things and restaurants and bars, and I would teach a little class for big groups of people, and he would participate in that. And for some of our nights he had paintings from, those are like stashed in a closet somewhere now, but they're not pretty.
Are they like the kid refrigerator?
Yeah.
You're the best.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, for first time in his life ever painting, it's not the worst I've seen. So he definitely has a vision there, but it would take some hefty time for him to put in, and he just doesn't want to do that, which is totally fine.
Yeah. You got to have your own headspaces. I get that too.
He likes to play guitar and drums, so he's, on that side of it.
Do you use his music as inspiration for your art? So if he starts jamming out, does that change your painting?
Oh, he says he's my muse.
Yeah. Like if he's painting, if he's doing some heavy metal riffing, does that all of a sudden your paint get darker?
No, but that would be interesting to experiment with.
To have him be in the room, just to kind of add that kind of, I guess, inspiration almost, just to kind of try to feel what he's feeling and then to visualize it.
Yell out of here. Bye. I know them.
Oh,
bartending days back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were they there the night or the place that shall not be named? Or?
Yes,
okay.
Actually.
I get it. You don't want them to know that this all went down. Okay.
Oh, it's not really that. I don't know. I wouldn't want to give him the him the credit.
Yeah, it's all in the past.
Absolutely.
So back to snakes. So you've got what if he wasn't there to relocate that snake? What would you have done?
I just would have ran inside and just never come back out.
Okay. Do you text him like there is?
Oh, he was right. He was in the yard. We were doing yard work. Mm-hmm. And so he heard me scream and he saw me jump and run.
And just wished he had his camera out to capture that.
I'm so glad he didn't. Because it was a shrill scream.
Oh, believe me, I've been there.
Uncontrollable.
It is. It literally, like, I am flight mechanism. Like, I literally will run. Yeah,
I was out of control. Like, I literally leaped into the air and took off screaming. So, completely out of control.
Well, it's good that you have that. Like, so if you were, like I said, on your own, say, he's not in the equation and this happened, you would be homebound. I'd
just run inside, yeah. I would just...
When would you think it would be safe to come out and inspect to see if it was gone? Like how much time frame?
At least 24 hours.
Okay. Like, do you just like hope for mice?
Take the dogs out the front, avoid the back, 24 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if it came in the back, then
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm. I will tell you my biggest...
I have to have my dad come over, I
Your
guess.
dad?
Yeah.
Is your dad, like, afraid of...
So we have a history, my dad and I, with that house in Midlothian.
Mm-hmm.
We would burn big wood piles all the time, and we'd be out there, stacking up the sticks or cleaning out the ash or whatever to build a new pile. And several times we'd get to the bottom of the pile, and there's a freaking copperhead, full alert. And my dad's like, go get the shovel. So I'm running out to the shed to get the shovel and running back and spearing it to him, and he's catching it and just sky,
Did you really spear it to him, or did you just frantically...
No, really, for real.
Okay.
This was a very serious...
Careful. Does she spear you with the shovel? Like, just...
It's like a warrior throw,
Okay.
Throwing a
but
weapon.
That definitely is a country girl with building piles to burn. Like, just build...
Oh, yeah.
And that was like... That's a highlight. That's a highlight as a kid.
We did that once a week.
Like, you got the gas
summer.
can, and you were like, oh, shit, here we go.
Oh, yeah. We're making grilled cheeses with the pan on the fire.
I don't know if I would make grilled cheese in a leaf. That doesn't seem...
Oh, yeah. We did some crazy stuff.
You're from Midlothian. I think that goes without saying.
Yes.
I don't know if it's even crazy. I just think it's like... We'll call it unconventional. I wouldn't call it crazy.
There's a lot of things that are unconventional about me. And it makes it hard.
But it makes great art. Like, it does make...
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, you have to have a different view of a world to kind of have, I would say, that kind of creation.
That's how I talk the best.
So
Through my art.
So if other people were afraid of snakes, how would you tell them to kind of move past it? Like,
I try to get over it all the time. I try to talk myself out of it. I've been around snakes, people that had them as pets, and for some reason, every time I try to hold one, they like act crazy on me or turn evil all of a sudden. So I think it's just a personal thing for me that I like a weird vendetta thing going on. But if it was with someone else, I would just be their support because I don't even know what to tell them. Honestly,
you'd be the one just telling them which way
I'm
to
here
run.
with
Just
you.
follow me. Just follow me. We're
in this together. Because I don't know what to tell you.
We're in this together
I can't
until
kill things either. I
Yeah.
can't kill them. So it's like I'm scared of them, but I can't kill them
Yeah.
either. So
Same. I will say this too. When I was living in one of my apartments, like there was a snake that got some baby birds, and it was in my dryer chute thing. Like it crawled into that.
oh my god.
And I've never dried so many clothes in my entire. Like I would just go away. Maybe it'll be unbearable. And I'm like, but they like warm.
Putting it on the
they
high
like
heat.
yeah, but they like warm stuff. So it's like I'm probably just making it like this is great. Like this snake's just like just chilling.
Hey, thanks,
And
bro.
so I would be terrified that it would come down the chute and just be like right as I disconnect the dryer, like it would just.
Oh no. I know it gives me the chills.
I did have a dream when I was a kid, like a teenager, where I had tied, I guess I had rolled around enough that I was in the sheets like a bag, like I couldn't move. And in the dream, I couldn't move, and the snake was just striking. And it was like I'm just dodging. And I'm just I woke up screaming. That's like the last time I've woken up audibly, like screaming, like somebody help me. Because I was literally just like feeling like something was attacking me. Like and I realized those are dreams where I've drank. If I have too much to drink, I'll have dreams.
Yeah, that will give you some
where
crazy
something's
dreams.
attacking you, like it's either a bee or something else, and it just comes at you.
Yeah, I've been there for sure. One of my other biggest fears is, well, dream-wise especially, is your teeth falling out or crumbling or,
Yeah.
you just wake up and your teeth are just like falling apart. I've had that dream a lot.
Yeah. When's the last time you went to the dentist?
Hey, we don't talk about those things. It's been a couple years.
Actually,
I'm past due.
That's where I've researched that dream because I used to have that dream a lot, and that's where it comes from. It's an anxiety thing of you haven't taken care of it.
Oh, it's very real because I've had those visits where they're like, "Hey, got some bad news," and you're like, "How much is this going to cost and
Yeah.
hurt?" But
What
yeah.
if you can trade off for dental care for, say, the astronaut in the waiting room or something like that? Have you thought about trading services?
Trading art for dental work?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know who'd be down for that, but yeah, absolutely.
Just got to find a dentist with nothing in the office. That's what you do. He's like, you're a new dentist. How would you like to decorate?
Go scope out their office and
Yeah.
paint something on purpose that matches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paint a horror rendition of being their tooth pulled, like paint Will Hurt the dentist.
I don't know if that would go over well, but I could.
Steve Martin from Little Shop of Horror dentist.
That would be pretty sweet for
That-
people like us.
Yeah.
Normal people would be like, I am never going there.
There's got to be a dentist that's a horror fan. There's got to be. Like they're not all kind and sunshiny.
But that's what people want to see,
So, Candy, where can people find you on social media?
Candy Artworks. Instagram, Facebook, either one. So just Candy Artworks, all one word. And then my website is candyartworks.com.
All right, guys, round of applause for Candy, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
So that was Candice. Some fears you just will never shake in life. And for me and her, I feel like fear of snakes is one of those fears where it doesn't matter how many snakes you can throw at us, we're always going to run the other way. She's a fantastic artist. Check out her art at candyartcreations.com. She's at a lot of festivals. She's got a lot of cool stuff. A lot of abstracts, a lot of varied colors. It's very, very awesome. I enjoyed our conversation. We had a lot of good laughs. Sean was also amazing off camera, just making sure that the booth was being kept, and also kind of interacted with me and Candice during the interview. As for me, I am off to Little Rock, Arkansas this Wednesday. We'll probably have another live episode next week. I'm going to guess it's going to be Oscar Nash is probably going to be my next episode. So we'll get into that. And then after that, I will be off for a week, and then I'll be off to Tulsa. So if you're in the Little Rock area and you listen to the show, check me out. I'll be at the Looney Bin with Andy Woodhull. I'll be the middle act. It'll be a fun week, very educational week as I learn how to perform in other venues and I'm starting to take my act on the road and learning the skills involved to do that. Thank you guys for listening, and next week we'll have another episode. Thanks for listening to the Sum of All Fears podcast. And now some thank yous for the folks that make this show possible. Thanks to Barry Whitewater for my art and graphics. You can follow him on Instagram at bwhiteh2o. Get it? H2O like water. You can also follow him on Facebook, Music. A huge thank you to Gunnar Olsen for the wonderful music provided for this podcast. You can follow him on Instagram at gunbuns, that's GUNBUNS, as well as his website, gunnarolsen.net. Check out some of the samples that he has recorded. They're amazing. He's an amazing percussionist. If you want to follow the show, we've got a Facebook group, Sum of All Fears. Instagram, Twitter, you can find us at Some Fear Fans. If you have some feedback for the show, email me at somefearfans, SOMEFEARFANS @gmail.com. I'll be happy to take those into consideration. Also, if you'd like to be a guest, email me at somefearfans@gmail.com. We can try to iron out some details and get that settled in. Give us some feedback. If on Apple, Google, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts, leave a review. It makes the show bigger, and it's not going anywhere. I'm going to record as many shows as I possibly can. If you want to follow me on social media, I am at Ryan Perio. It's RyanPerio on all social media platforms. You can follow me there, and you can check me out at ryanperio.com, my website. I'll try to list upcoming shows there as well. It's been kind of spotty because as soon as I set it up, that's when the pandemic happened. And everything's kind of just in a holding pattern. Thanks again for listening to the Sum of All Fears podcast. Next week, we'll have another guest with another fear. Thanks for listening.